All right. Check one, check two. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell, coming to you live and direct from the internet and beyond. I have coffee. I've had some cannabis. I got an amazing guest, a dope guest. This guy is hilarious. He's a very funny comedian. He's also a great actor. He was on the show The Bear. He's actually in the show Killing It on Peacock. The Bear is on Hulu. His name is Carmen Christopher. Everybody give it up for Carmen Christopher.
What's up, Rob? How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you? How's it going, Carmen? Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm good, man. Sorry, like I said, sorry I'm outside. I had some leakage or my kitchen was like from all the rain, and I'm in LA, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, not unfortunately. I do like it here, but we met in New York. That's where I got my feet wet. Well, no, Chicago's where I got my feet wet, but New York is, whatever.
I know, but I do not hate on California. You have come to a California-friendly podcast, my man. So I see you soaking up that vitamin D, that California sunshine. I know you've got some busted pipes or something went down, but it's really cold and wet here, bro.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, man. Oh, brutal. Like today was like cold and wet, like raining and just like 40 degrees, not even freezing, because if it's freezing then it's going to be snow, but it was right at that point where they're both bad, where they're both cold. Like you instantly get the sniffles even before you get outside. It's that cold.
I think like end of January, all of February is when people start going crazy in New York, because they're like, I'm sick of this shit. I need it to be nice out. I want to have fun. And my experience living there was always like, people just are like, that is a good time to get out of town. I think, in New York, that is a good time to come to like LA for a month.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
January, February-ish, like just get out of town, get rejuvenated, get ready for the year.
Yeah, even just walk around, get some juices. Maybe somebody's got a pool, just California up. Yeah, the winters are rough here, but Chicago, I mean, that's like the roughest of the rough, except for Buffalo. I don't know what's rougher than Buffalo, but Chicago's up there.
It sounds like Chicago and Buffalo are pretty comparable. Like I've never been to Buffalo, but just knowing you guys that I know from there, and seeing the like weather on the news, it's equally bad. I mean, when I was back in Chicago for Christmas, the wind chill, it was -20. It's like, what? This is crazy. -20. It's not even 0 degrees. It's 20 below. You can't go outside.
You can kill a cat or a mouse being outside. Just like, that's brutal.
Yeah, it's crazy. Chicago is nuts. The last month before I moved away from Chicago for a full month, it was like -30 wind chill. And I just took an Uber to work every day, and I was only like a 15-20 minute walk from work. You just couldn't be outside. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's when it's all you do is eat pancakes and drink whiskey and eat bacon. Eat hamburgers and drink more beer and have more Vienna beef sausages, man. I got to hang out in Chicago. I had some college roommates that were from Winnetka, and so I would end up there. And then during comedy, I've played there a bunch. I didn't start there. You started there with the Second City and the Improv Olympics. Like, how fun was that scene? Did you have a blast doing that?
Yeah. You know what? It's looking back, it feels so like there's truly like no stakes. Like there's you can't make it in Chicago. So like there's no industry at your shows. There's nobody that gives a fuck. The only people that are going to your shows are other comedians. So you're literally just like making other comedians laugh. You're just trying to get good at comedy. Like you're doing it because you love it. And I don't think that's always the case for people in New York and LA. Like there's something really pure about starting in Chicago that I didn't really understand until I lived in New York and now LA. Not to knock New York or LA, I love both of them, but like it's super different. I did so I started in classes at Second City, then I started doing classes at IO, and then I started doing classes at the Annoyance Theater, and I like the Annoyance more than all those for me, particularly because they like really just taught you how to like kind of just own whatever you were doing, and like they kind of like embraced if you were like a weirdo and let you help you try to like dig into that and like help you realize that that's like your strength, and like by taking care of yourself is actually taking care of whoever your scene partner is. So if everybody's doing that ideally, then like you just have a good scene. But IO was very like fun, but it felt like summer camp. It's just like a bunch of people doing like playing like inanimate objects and like animals and shit. And like that's what like the classes were. It was like you would do like a herald and it would be like people are playing like dinosaurs and cats, and it's like I don't think I want to do this, but it was like there were really good teams at IO. There was like TJ and Dave and Cook County and these teams that you like learned a lot from. but and then Second City was like very corporate. Like you wore a suit to do comedy, and like it was cool because it was the only job in town, and they got good crowds, and everybody wanted to work there, and they had all the alumni's photos on the walls.
That
But
shit goes back, like the Second City goes back like to the 50s and like even the 40s. Like it's like that's what's so
Paul
dope.
Silas, the Compass Players,
What are
yeah,
they all
that's like
about?
they were like I don't I'm probably wrong.
This is the
So
yeah. Go ahead.
but they were like putting up plays a lot, and the Compass Players is kind of what turned into Second City is what I think. I mean, I used to know all this stuff, but I kind of haven't been doing improv and sketch in a while, so it's not really my I don't know, I kind of forgot about
Yeah,
all.
there's a lot of history and lore. I started in stand up, but I did start in San Francisco. So there was a very creative, like funky vibe to it all. And there was a couple legendary sketch groups, Killing My Lobster. But then there was it was called the Mime Theater, but it was actually Bill Graham came out of sketch comedy. They would do sketch comedy right off Mission, Dolores Park, which is a sick park. And then
Oh
he was
wow.
like a comedy dude. He was like one of us that ran around and booked shows, but it was like kind of acting, avant garde, 60s, 50s folk scene. And then he
Yeah.
started booking all the music venues. But yeah, there's so much history with that stuff. Like it is
It's really
American history.
it is really cool. It is really cool to just think that like these people were doing shows also for like 10 or 12 people, and because they started doing it, other people liked it and they started like it's just like it caught, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy, like they like were like, especially then there wasn't like as much opportunity as there is now, so you really had to just be like taking more of a risk. Like right now it's like
Either you were working in the factory or you were with the mob or you were pushing pencils or you were maybe robbing purses. Like there was
or
only
you were putting on wigs, putting on plays, and like probably being made fun of by all your uncles and shit. Also, I made a huge, well, not a huge mistake, but Paul Silas is an NBA basketball player, and Paul Sills and David Shepard are the guys that founded the Compass Players. I just looked it up,
Oh, cool.
but that's kind of funny. If I would love if somebody fucking just came at me. Um, um, San Francisco, that does sound like a cool, interesting place to start somebody. Um, It feels like it could, like it's a little bit similar to Chicago in ways.
Yeah,
Um,
there was like a self-sufficient scene there that locals dominate. Like there's the Punchline today is even one of the best stand-up clubs, and so is Cobb's Comedy Club. And those were that's like a secondary city with two A stand-up clubs. And then there's like definitely a bunch of different shows, but like right when I got there, like Patton Oswalt just left. Arch Barker was from there. That was the first time I saw Mitch Hedberg and Barker, kind of like these absurdist stand-ups that I like, that I really enjoyed, as well as like Dave Attell and Dave Chappelle. But it had a very, and it was the middle of San Francisco, so it's like weed friendly, art friendly, weirdo friendly. It's just a really cool, fun place to start and to learn about this. Uh, but the thing about improv, it lends a hand to acting and booking acting gigs. Like I always say, like I tell younger comics, like don't shy away from improv, because what you're learning is a style of acting that you can book auditions, you could book, do movies and stuff, and that always lends itself back, if you want to keep doing stand up.
I 100% agree. Like, I'm mostly
I think your thumb goes over the microphone, like you're
oh
going in and
shit.
out a little bit. When you stood up, you got the best sound. That's all.
Is this good?
Oh, that's really good. Oh, you have a beautiful voice there.
All right, my bad, dude. I'll try not to do that again.
No worries.
I think that like I'm mostly doing stand up right now, but and for a while, like when I was in New York I started stand up in New York. When I was starting it, I was like, fuck, I wish I would have like done this more, done it earlier. But now I'm kind of like, just because like once you do a bunch of different things, like stand up, sketch, improv, and I was like dedicating my time to all of them and whatever. And then you just see people who like focused on one thing, just kind of like their career skyrocket. But I do think there is like such a benefit to like, yeah, those improv classes, because you just have confidence to do. There's been so many times where I've been like on a set or something, and you just keep going and you keep going and you just don't stop, and you already have the confidence to keep going because you've done a million shows, and they don't call cut, and then they end up using a lot of the stuff that I've improvised, and that feels kind of cool. But you just have like an extra tool to make whatever they wrote a little bit better, or pop a little bit more, or a little bit more, make it feel alive, because I feel like nothing on the script is like fully like, it doesn't have to be done. Like it could always, like anything could always be better. I mean, unless you're like, I don't know, trying to think of, yeah, I don't know.
I acted in Maisel, and I think that needed to be, because it had a certain pace. Like I watched a bunch of them, and I could tell the director wanted it kind of like boom, 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 boom. But I only had a couple lines. But it was a scene where the lines had to bounce around. And I wasn't a theater kid. I started with stand up, but now I enjoy acting. And over during the pandemic, I did a lot of auditions and stuff like that, and booked like one or two out of thousands. But yeah, it's just like I do think you're right. Like in that, and also with improv and acting, it's a very vulnerable space. And then when you improv, you're kind of being vulnerable. Like this could go all wrong, but trust me, you're going to get some gold out of it. And you learning how to
Yeah.
push through that awkwardness is just a great muscle to have on any set.
Totally, totally. And like there are many times where I'm like, I just have to, do what the script says, and that's cool and fine. And that's where the skill of like, just like I took acting classes in Chicago too, this place called Black Box. And I feel like once I started doing those acting, like when I started doing improv, I think I was just like kind of crazy, and like people were like, what the fuck is this guy doing type of thing. Like I didn't know how to harness it. But once I started
Same,
doing these
same, like tapping into your hidden goof. You were like, I'm just going to goof the fuck off and try to be as funny as possible.
exactly, I just went too big but the acting classes that I took in Chicago, they really helped ground everything. And that, like, truly, like a year after taking them, it was like I felt like I was getting like a lot of like compliments where it was like, dude, you got like way better. And I was like, that made me feel like, whoa, what? I used to like, you guys think I used to suck or something? But but it was like it truly was like night and day. Like the acting stuff is like there's like things that they do where I'm like there's certain actors where I'm like this is like fucking. I just watched Tar. Have you seen that?
No. What's that all about?
It's about this you should watch it. It's Kate Blanchett is
Hmm.
the star of it, and she is like the head of this like symphony, and they she basically I don't want to I actually like it's I'll say this about it is it's a very slow burn of like what happens with her story, and I almost think it's better for you to go in not knowing anything, and I definitely think that you should watch it um because it is like it's one of like the first she has an interview in the top. This isn't ruining anything, but like the first 10 minutes in I was like holy shit, she's gonna be fucking she's gonna win an Oscar for this. It's like incredible. But she's like this renowned musician and stuff unfolds. That's all I want to say.
You got me at symphony. I think that's a great backdrop for a movie. I like the symphony. I like
Mhm.
the classically trained. I got a cousin that's in like the Houston. He does percussions for like the Houston Symphony. So,
Yeah.
and I just watched like Whiplash, which I had never seen
Oh,
before.
really? What'd you think?
What was thrilling about it, soundtrack is amazing. It's a little brutal. Um, the relationship. I thought the car accident was a lot. It was great. It was
Yeah.
shot so minimally. That's what tripped me out. I was like, dude, this is like seven actors in a classroom and
Yeah.
some good drumming. Like that's pretty much this
Good
is.
good acting. Really good acting.
Yeah, good acting, just like focused on all acting. What that was the thing that got me was the
Yeah, that
acting that I was like, oh shit, this is just shot like seven good actors knocked the fuck out of this thing.
yeah. That guy did La La Land and Babylon, which just came out.
Mm,
Damien Chazelle.
yeah.
Um, but I think that yeah, I remember like when it came out, I liked it a lot. I was, that was I don't know how old is Whiplash? That's like 2014.
15. I'm guessing 14 and 15. I remember it. And then like a series of drum movies came out. But I have
Yeah,
been watching drum, I've been listening to some reggae dub. Like I've been getting really into dub. I don't know if you know about like really good reggae dub music.
I don't know a ton about it, but I'm sure I'd be down with it.
Yeah, it's just good drumming, and it's syncopated and the beats are different. I like good drumming. And that leads me to like what kind of music are you listening to, Carmen?
Oh, that's a good question. A lot of always the last concert I went to was I went to the Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem concert, and I went 2 nights in a row. It was so good. It's like I love Baby Keem. Baby Keem's Kendrick Lamar's cousin. She's got like such a fun, good energy, and these guys are the best, I think, right now. Um,
Kendrick is keeping it alive and he's like hasn't gone crazy and the beats are amazing. What he's saying is amazing and it's not super gangster. Now, but he's like a number one artist. Like you saw him probably in an arena. Is that what I'm think? Was it like
yeah, I saw him at the Crypto Center, formerly Staples.
and
Yeah,
how long is his set? And then how long is it Baby Keem?
yeah. Baby Keem probably went an hour, and then Kendrick went an hour, and they even had an opener.
Woo.
Um, so it was like you got your money's worth. And like um, Kendrick and Baby Keem have some songs together. So by the end of Kendrick's set, they come out and they do those songs together, and the place fucking explodes. And then Kendrick does about two more songs after that. It's just like You're like the whole time I was watching it, I was like, they are doing the coolest thing. Like comedians are such nerds, and comedians think they're so cool now. And it's like these guys are the cool guys.
Oh,
It's
dude,
really
you know me, I love hip hop, but at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of all the new stuff and the trap stuff, but I did like the Migos, like, and it makes me sad. Like, out of all that new shit, I'm an
yeah,
old dude, man. But I thought they were funky and had fun and they were cool and like just they had a different rhyme style and the beats were like futuristic as hell.
yeah. I like those guys too. It's a shame.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a shame. Like they were at the top. Like that's like Kendrick. Like these dudes were holding it down.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're yeah. You gotta be thankful that their hip hop has a Kendrick Lamar because I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there, but there's a lot of stuff in any industry right now. There's just so much content across the board. It's just nice.
Toxicity of our city. No,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of toxic shit out there. I think the mass of communication, the mass of media with, the internet exploding, like every weirdo and so has an opinion and it's going to get out there, and mentally we weren't ready to process all of this.
Also, the barrier of entry into doing like, comedy or anything is just like you and your phone. And like there are some good things about that. It's nice that you don't have to like wait on a decision maker. You can fully like go in and like do something for yourself if you believe in it and it can blow up. And I think that's really great.
Very
But
empowering.
but I also think that there is something to gain from like it depends what you want. Like if you want to make something really good or if you want to be really good, there's such a benefit to just like doing all the shit that you don't want to do, like stupid classes and like showing up to open mics and like doing it the hard way, I think could make a better product if that's what you're interested in. If you're interested in like an actual like making a nice piece of art, I think there's no shortcuts. But
There's no shortcuts to the hard work. It's like you said, like there is a Zen philosophy. I've been doing a lot of stretching, a lot of meditating, also a lot of herb. But one that stuck to me, my consciousness was like the hard way seems like the easiest way, and the easiest way ends up being the hard way. So you might as well just do that hard work. And I think that's what you're great about. If anybody,
uh,
Carmen Christopher, in the last 2 years over the pandemic, he put out a special on Peacock that you could check out that he roams the street with an amplifier and a microphone and gets at cats and does material and talks to pigeons. And it's hilarious and out there. And then you also, you did 3 episodes of The Bear and you're writing and performing on this other show. So, yeah, you've been doing the hard work. I mean, I know you're also talented and charming and good looking, but you have been doing the hard work.
oh, thanks, buddy. Those some big praise coming from you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, brother.
I think I told you this. You were one of the first people that I saw do stand up in New York, and I was like, this dude rules. So coming, I'm, doing that thing where you compliment back, but that is coming from you. That means a lot.
Yeah,
Thanks,
coming
buddy.
from a UCB theater, coming from an improviser like yourself that also does stand up, that I do know what it's like to come to New York. Dude, yeah, I do have some cool memories of going to the Lower East Side and Surf Reality, and I never seen a scene like that. That was like real Lower East Side weirdos, and people were smoking weed in the venue, and the mic went on to 5 a.m. I just remember seeing some original dudes that it just stuck in my psyche. So I appreciate it, man.
That's awesome, man. I like, yeah, romanticize over like just like doing like fucking just scummy shows in New York where there's like cigarette smoke and like people are just drunk and it's just like you got to just get up there and it's just like a fun hangout afterwards. It's almost like, yeah,
It's nothing more punk rock. I mean, I think you're right with, hip hop is so dope. And I do some hip hop. Riding a beat is something really fun. If you can just go jump on a beat and ride it, that's like super fun. But doing stand up in a like a grubby bar, but then killing, like there's nothing more like go fuck yourself about it. It's just like, dude, I just rocked this room. It's just a fun feeling. It
yeah.
doesn't always pay the bills, but not everybody gets to experience it.
Oh, I love that. I love that energy. Like that's the thing about that I don't think I feel like I'm missing out here from New York, and I'm gonna have to come back to New York soon and just stay for a while and do a bunch of shows because like I like doing shows here, but there's like it's not like rowdy in the way that it's like in there's something about New York where like you do a random show in a random room and you're like, I don't recognize any of these people. And I'm actually kind of like scared of a few people in the audience. And if I say something stupid, like who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows what's gonna
Yeah.
happen? Like there's something good about that feeling about like knowing that like I just don't like the audiences out here, they feel pretty similar each place that you go. Like I like the challenge of doing like one of the times I recently went to New York, I had, a different show every night and every show was so different. Every feel was so different. Every audience was so different.
So
And it's
big.
like,
Yeah.
you're just like, holy shit. Like that's fucking what New York is. And that's what's so special about it.
Yeah. It is. It is. As much as I complain, it does, as stand up wise, it does make you a better stand up. It just
100%.
forces you because you can't, because first of all, and it's not the best audiences, but nobody has time for anything. So they're not going to give you and there's 8 billion comics. So nobody's going to give you the benefit of the doubt. So you got to get funny and gonna get funny quick. But being unique is also applauded as well because everybody sees so much shit. It's kind of
Yeah.
like pizza here. All the New
Oh,
Yorkers know
totally.
good pizza. And they'll give you the quality
Mhm.
rating, off the bat because there's so much.
Yeah. That's interesting because when I was in Chicago, it was like, really learning comedy, figuring it out. And like, I felt like by the time I left, I'd made some like good, headway and just got a lot better and felt pretty good. But I was like considered like a weird comedian, maybe, or a weird person in the scene. And then I felt like I got to New York and was immediately embraced. And like, New York was just always felt like, well, there's no way I'm the weirdest guy. Let's just like look around. This place is like filled with like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like
You don't even
variety
know. Yeah.
in a really good way.
Yeah.
Um, but like New York too, going back to it, like New York teaches you how to like really just take over a stage and be like, I'm in charge here. I feel like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, because nobody has time of day for you. So you have to and the name of the game is getting attention. So if you're not holding their attention, if you're boring, New Yorkers will space on you.
I know
So get entertaining quick, buddy.
that's why everybody likes crowd work so much because they feel the like the rush or the fear of like the like, you know, being like embarrassed or like held like accountable to make sure that they're like listening. It's like it gets everybody on their toes because then they're like, "Am I next?" Like it feels like everybody, all these comics now, all they do is they post their crowd work and like they get a ton of views. It's like I guess the general audience just like loves that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a skill to it, and I mean, I could do it,
Yeah,
but it is a kind of a substitute for writing at the end of the day. And then
I
like
agree.
good writing like trumps everything. Like there's some comics that just have had whole careers off of one really well written joke. It's
Yes.
just like if you have a good fucking joke, that's the diamond. And so nobody can fuck with the diamond. That's kind of what you're looking for, I think, with stand up. But at the same time, that diamond could be in the moment and improvising and flow state and all that. But
Yeah, a lot of the improv that like the crowd work that I've been seeing, it's so lazy. It's like very easy, and it's like the tropes, and it's like as like guys like us that have done stand up for a while now, it's like a thing where you're like, of course that's gonna get the laugh. Like that's the easy like
Yeah,
you're
yeah. These hacky tropes are blowing up on. I could see the frustration are blowing up on IG reels.
it's
These dudes are
crazy.
getting booked at the Funny Bone now for this like half-ass act. It's really weird.
But yeah, it is. I think there's something special for me, that I like is like know your material, have good material, but like leave the homework at home. When you're on stage, anything goes. But it's like you have the good material to fall back on, but in that moment, you always have to be ready to like speak to that moment because like that's what's great about like either like live theater, stand up, anything that's like happening in the moment is like addressing that moment, living in that moment. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm just like, the
Well,
fuck is
you're
everybody
starting to
posting their
headline,
progress?
right? You're starting to do some headlining stuff out there with stand up.
Yeah, yeah. For the last year or so, I've been headlining a little bit more, and
Well,
it's
that's the
fun.
magic moment, man. That's what you got to remember. Not to play Papa or whatever, but that first 3 minutes of you being a headliner, if you could push that, Carmen, you just should go in the next headlining gig and say, how far can I push that opening moment where you're not on any material? You know what I mean? Like
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
that's where the improviser can win. Like that's where I've seen improv dudes win, and that's what I've always. And if after a while stand up gets boring because you're doing the same act, especially if you're touring and headlining and people are paying money for tickets, you can't be slack, so you go back to the old material. But one of the magic sacred moments, but as you know, you could fall on your face and then you got to dig yourself out a hole. But there is like a percentage of it being on your side the minute you get on stage. You know what I'm saying?
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you say why do you say do that the first 3 minutes?
Because it's open. Because that space is just wide open for you to like because everybody's acknowledging. And so my move is just try to get one little funny joke. That's when somebody does something, you know, like local, like when we were in Dewey Beach, and I was like, oh, this is like the Hamptons of Baltimore, just
Perfect.
like, and
Perfect.
that was something that was half-assed coming to the stage. But if you can fuck with that moment, and that got just as big as a laugh as anything else I ever said, or even
Yeah.
bigger because it was in the moment. So you kind of want to like try to stack. You want to try to stack that moment. You've seen guys just dick around in the beginning of their set. You
Yeah.
I mean, Rory Scovel's whole set is that dick around. He took that moment and pushed it all the way through, and came from a whole improvise. But I like to do kind of a hybrid. Like I always think about like trying to push that out.
That's funny. That's interesting. I like that. Yeah. See, I've definitely done that. Like come out and be like, I'm gonna mess around. And then I've definitely come and been like, I'm gonna do the jokes first and get them laughing. And I think I probably have had um 50-50 success rate with like or like one being better than the other. There have been times where I'm like, I got them rolling off the improvised thing, and then you know, half the time they're like, this is like I went in Wisconsin, I'm like talking about cheese curds. They're like, shut the fuck up, do your jokes. Everybody talks about cheese curds when they come here or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You
like,
think it's going to be money, and then it just ends up being whatever, whatever, and you're like, oh, I got to
yeah, and then
keep
I'm
this
just like,
moving.
all right, and then here come the jokes. So I find it safer to do um the jokes, but I find it more exciting to to start off in that blank space and try to figure it out.
Yeah, it's just like a one spot in your set that you do have probably like a 5 minute safety net. But the last time I went out with Joe Pera, like he's been writing, like he writes, like his jokes are like, and they're current too. Like
Uh-huh.
not like Hedberg would write and have jokes, or Stephen writes like they would just be boom and shelved. Like he seems to be always writing and always kind of fucking with that tone and that character and everything, like in building on it. I don't know. I was really inspired. And you just
He's
toured with them, right? And do you guys have similar writing styles on stage or?
I don't know that our styles are similar. I do think we think the same things are funny. Um, but like the thing that really like amazes me and surprises me with Joe is that like I love his material, that's obvious, but like we'll do this thing when we tour where we both come on stage at the end and we'll basically just make fun of each other. And sometimes I'll be like recycling like jokes that worked at a different show on him because I'm like, I gotta laugh. And then he comes up with a new story about me every time that is completely fake and it destroys. And I'm like, are you just like sitting around thinking about like different burns on me all day and then you just pop them out at the show? Like his mind is really creative and like it's not just a joke. It's a full story about how I
Yeah,
kicked the
yeah,
chicken and the chicken came following me and you know this and that. Like we were in there I think it was Tampa. There's like loose chickens running around and that's like normal and it was either yeah, it was Tampa and you know he went on with this huge long rant about how I kick chickens and the
yeah.
audience was loving it and I'm like this is fucked up. This is not so funny though. He's
Yeah.
really like he's got a good improvised mind and then he'll come out at the beginning of his set and I'd already gone about 20 minutes. In the first 5 minutes of that set, it's making fun of me and then the last when we're on stage it's making fun of me and it's all different jokes every time. And I'm like I never told him that, but it's pretty impressive. I don't
Yeah, yeah,
want
yeah. Super impressed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Like, I feel kind of slack when I'm around Joe. Like, he does work very hard. As anybody could say, he got his own television show within like 10 years of doing stand up. Like, he has a great focus, and especially I just like his tone is just so silly and goofball that it's like fresh and punk rock to me that I'm like, oh yeah, man.
to.
I'll talk about mason jars for 30 minutes too, man. Let's go. Oh, you got open up your thumb.
Oh shit.
That's all
What
right.
is my bad? I think that's the thing that separates Joe from comedians that don't have a show is not as much as his weird tone, but mostly his work ethic. Like you
Yeah.
said, he has this focus where he's like he tries to do something, he follows through, and there's no reason in his mind that he thinks that he shouldn't be able to do that. Like it's always been like a big goal for Joe. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I moved to New York, he helped me with my like first web series that I sold to Super Deluxe. It's like Super Deluxe gave me like $60,000 to make a web series. I was in Chicago, like we just shot everything ourselves. Like nothing had more of a budget over $100. You know, it's like $60,000. This is fucking nuts. You
Wow.
know, but like he helped me sell that with our manager at the time, and then like even like being like seeing him be like he has a show or he's doing this, he's that. It's like it's nice to have friends like that because then you don't feel bad about having these big goals like a television show, a stand-up special, or whatever. Because I think, and I don't know if it's like this in Buffalo, but in Chicago, there is a lot of like, you know, it feels like you have to leave Chicago because it feels like people aren't necessarily like if you want to shine too much, that's kind of weird. You know what I mean? They're like, "What are you doing? Who do you just go
Yeah.
to yeah, get in the factory or whatever." You know what I mean? Or
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
like my whole family's like, you know, construction workers and carpenters and stuff and blue collar and no one went to college or anything. So it's like it is funny to think like nobody like was able to like help support this type of career. You have to like get the friends around you that are supportive of your humor because nobody knows how to support it because nobody's done that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You're on your own voyage. You're definitely on your own trip the whole time, and you have to like push forward. And then your old cats kind of like are not doing what you're doing because, just doing stand up or performing, you're literally putting yourself out there for free over and over again. So it's like very few people can relate. That's why so many dudes are like single and shit. Like, it's just
Yeah,
very. So if you do find good friends, a good girlfriend, hang on, because yeah, it's just hard. Showbiz is dope, but it's also hard. There's a price to pay for like the lifestyle a little bit.
totally, totally. And like part of the lifestyle is kind of a decision I made recently to like move to LA because the New York lifestyle is really hard. It beats you up, man. Like it's
Yeah.
exhausting. It's hard to do everything. It's hard to get on the train, get yelled at by random people, and like it smells like fucking piss everywhere. And you gotta grab a quick like thing to eat at the bodega and just go and do your show, and that's your dinner. And like fucking like it's go 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 constantly, and it never feels like enough. But like part of like being out here is to have focus so that I can try to write my own television show, my own movie, because like you get caught up like in New York. I felt very like caught up in the scene and like being invited to always do shows
Well,
and
you're
being
cool, Carmen. Everybody's going to invite you out. Everybody wants to party with you. Everybody's going to invite you out to their show. I
oh,
want you
thanks.
on my podcast. But yeah, there
Thanks,
is a lot
buddy.
to do. It's what you end up going out here, and you can get dragged in all different types of directions. That's not really leading to selling a script, getting a television show. It's just leading you to having a couple fun nights.
Yeah, and and there's nothing wrong with that if
It is fun. Yeah.
that's what you want to do the whole time. And like it's awesome. But I also have like these bigger things I want to do, and it's really hard to do them in New York, I think, for me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. I think I could have figured it out. Whatever. I don't know.
You figure out wherever you're at. So wherever you're at is great, dude. I appreciate you being on this podcast. This is the Cannabis Coffee Hour. You've been on. We've got 48 minutes here, dude. You've been too cool. Where are you at with cannabis, real quick? Do you smoke? Do you like it?
Oh, that's funny. I smoke occasionally. Like I can't like I know you smoked before this. Like I would not be able to smoke and do like a podcast because then my mind just like thinks that like you hate me the whole time or like I'm saying something stupid. I get really paranoid.
Right,
The
right.
type of smoker I am is like I'll smoke in my house in a secure place with people that I want to be around and watch something or do it before bed. But I'm not a functioning smoker. Like I
What are you
can't do
watching? Are you watching a music documentary? Are you watching a series? Are you animation?
I'm watching Mad Men, baby.
Oh yeah. Crank up some Mad Men. Do you actually watch it, or is it more just a noise factor at this point, or just like my
I'm
wife has these
watching
shows where she just has seen them all, but she just watches them.
I'm watching it, and if I miss any detail, I'm hitting that 15-second rewind button. Like I have to know, I can't miss a detail. I love that show so much. It's so good. The writing is crazy, like that in Sopranos. I go through different phases of I just watch one thing, and
Yes,
then
I
anything else is like noise. But I have been watching some movies just because Oscar season,
yeah.
get the screeners. What are you watching?
Well, I've been watching The Bear. I've been watching The Bear
Nice.
because I had you on. So I was like, but that tripped me out because I was like, oh shit, this is a drama. This is
Yeah.
fucking dark. Like I thought it was going to be a half hour, like because I know your style, so it's just wild. But I've been watching.
Did you get to my episodes yet
I
or no?
had. Which one is your episode? Is it three? I'm
I'm
at.
in 3, 4, and
I'm,
then I'm
I'm
like
at two.
eating pasta in the last one. I think I barely would say that I'm in that episode.
Dude, that's a number one show. I mean, that show is on every that's the type of show like if you drop like if you say it to somebody, they're like, yeah, my wife watched it already, like killed it like within the first like week it was out, man. I mean, I'm behind the eight ball with a lot of shows. Like I watch a lot of stuff. The other night I watched the movie Sting. The Sting.
Sting? I
The
haven't seen
Sting.
it.
Oh, it's like the Robert Redford, Paul Newman is
Oh, The Sting.
the Sting. Very so old school. And I thought it was
Well,
going to be great, but the script had some holes in it. I
the
was like,
script what?
had a couple holes in it. Like I didn't believe the con. Like the whole thing was about the big con. And I remember when I was young, when I saw it when I was like 10 or 11, and it's a great film. I mean, it's like, and just watching how films like that was like the number one film of that day. And I kind of remember that was like the first movie out on VHS and kind
What?
of like was like the one of the first movies in my like psyche. That and Animal House. There's a couple like Star Wars. There's like those 80s type of joints that I'm like I'm into. But yeah, I was rewatching that.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I watched a Pele documentary that was pretty dope. That it was like right
Oh,
before he died. Like I just finished it and then he died.
no way.
Yeah,
That's fucking sad, huh?
yeah,
Or
that
maybe
was
it was
that.
good to watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you play sports in high school? Did you play soccer? I would think like Chicago's like a soccer town.
Chicago's a football town, man, and basketball.
Did you play football? I played football.
I played football. Definitely rode the bench, but we had an
Same, same.
incredible team. We like we went 11-1 my junior and senior year. Basically, like we lost to the team that won the state championship by like a last second pass, and then they went on to the state championship and won by like 50. So our game was like the game, you know. It was like the score was like 56-50. We ran a 5 wide at the time. It was like unheard of in high
Oh
school
my God.
football. It was really cool. It
Is
was
this
really
a
fun.
big school or a small school? One, two, three,
Small,
Catholic, private?
smaller. That's why it was a surprise.
Yeah.
We were playing a Catholic school, so we were like our school was only like 200 people a class, so it was like 800 to 1,000 people, and then we took on all these big teams. It was kind of cool. But I
That
played
is cool.
basketball my freshman year too.
Oh, nice. Basketball is a great sport too. I think basketball, like football, I will say, like it weirds me out now. Like I would say I'm more of a pacifist. A lot of this gun shit, all this shit. Like I'm definitely leaning pacifism and spirituality and all that. But football is so violent, you know. But at the same time, I remember it. There is something to that fear and just getting lit up. And then I just remember like sacking a dude. I was playing fullback and this dude came through and I just hit him like perfectly. Like I just fucking laid him out. I just remember just feeling so good. And it's just like a
Yeah.
scary rush. Like, I don't know, there's a healthiness to it because life is scary.
Yeah, there's something about like I used to be like I was smaller than everybody, so I would throw my body in like tackling drills at people, and some of the old taller receivers hated going against me because I would just fucking destroy their legs, their
You were just a
shins.
cannonball. You just spazzed
Yeah.
out. You just took all that pain from your childhood and just slung yourself right into them.
And like nothing hurt me because I was so small and in so many pads that I would just fucking run full speed into people and like really like hit
Oh,
people.
shit.
And
Did you ever carry the ball?
no, fuck.
No, no.
Oh, I did in I played running back once in grade school, and um everybody was getting hurt in a game, and we were just getting our asses destroyed, and then they gave me the ball once and I got knocked out, and I just like kind of laid on the ground longer than I should have because I didn't want to play anymore, and I think they canceled the game. I was in like first or second
You
grade.
were like, I'm gonna stop running the ball. Yeah. Yeah, you just get killed. It's crazy. It's like, okay, the game is whoever has the ball, you try to kill him. Not like really kill him, but you do
You
try to
kind of
kill him.
do.
Yeah.
I was returning a kick in practice once, and I called fair catch, and guy that we're practicing in didn't give a shit. He just went full speed ahead of me, absolutely destroyed me. Like it was the first time I ever had snot coming out of my nose from a hit. Like knocked me out, and I had like true like bubbles coming out of my nose. It was
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, that hurts. The back of your head hurts, your chest, the air comes out of your chest. It's scary as hell. Like it's just like, oh, did I just get hit by a train? It's like it is brutal. But you're young and you can bounce right back up. Speaking of, we're wrapping up. But what about your coffee thing? Do you what's your go-to? Do you like coffee, or are you like, I'm not fucking with that shit?
Dude, I'm the worst guest. I don't. I barely. I drink.
The
I
best.
like tea. I like tea, and
Tea's
then I
dope.
drink. And then I drink coffee when it's like a supplement. Like I need like a secret like weapon for a special like if I'm like acting on something or like or if I'm
3
on vacation.
p.m. You're like, yeah, we're up all night. You just have to knock out this scene, and you're like, give me a little small Dunkin'.
Yeah, or if I'm on like vacation and I'm like I really want to take this in, but I'm being a lazy bum. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
drink it occasionally because my migraines I get when I like get off of the coffee, they're so bad.
Yeah.
So I try to go tea.
That's dope, man. Everybody's nervous system's different. Do you go green? I was fiending for tea this morning because I had a little sniffle. So I was like, I'm gonna go with a green tea and knock this thing out. And I didn't have any green tea. What's your what's your tea of preference?
I go green tea or sometimes I make matcha. I learned at my
Which is good.
I know how to I got to make a good homemade matcha. There's a good place
You get
in
the fresh matcha.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's yeah, that's my thing. I'm a tea head.
Tea head all day, man. I can dig it. Thank you for being on the Cannabis Coffee Hour, Carmen. Everybody check out Carmen Christopher on television shows, on his website. He tours doing stand-up. Look out, man.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Thanks for doing it, homie.
All right, later, dude.
Peace and love. Thank you.
Peace.